So here we go, the final shape is launching today. Feels like it's been a long time coming, but at the same time it's sort of crept up on us. And in this video we're going to talk about content this week, so new stuff coming out with the final shape itself, some launch updates and things to be aware of, including the server downtime right now, but also content which will be dropping throughout the course of this week and as we head into next week's reset. So we'll talk about that as well as some updates to various items, loot pool changes, Eververse, a bit of a release schedule for some of the exotics and things we'll be able to get access to. And we've got a few other things to round up in the video. So as always guys, I hope you enjoy this one. If you're ready for the final shape, be sure to get subscribed as I'll be keeping you posted with a whole bunch of content. But without further delay, let's get into it. And so first up, right at this point in time, we still have server maintenance ahead of the final shape. Preloads for the expansion are now available, but the server downtime should be ending at 10 AM Pacific time today, which is the daily reset time. And from there, the game begins to come back online. But as always, we should probably anticipate some server queues and at least minor stability issues in the first day. Hopefully it's going to be a pretty smooth launch, but it's always worth keeping in mind that things can be a bit rocky as a significant amount of players jump back onto Destiny 2. I'll keep you posted when reset drops though. And up next, Bungie offer a list of vital info and known issues for the final shape, and they say before the first day of final shape, we want players to be aware of certain information and issues that we're already investigating. So firstly, they've said players progressing through the final shape campaign in a fire team should avoid joining missions in progress or swapping characters during the campaign to ensure that progress is correctly recorded. That's something to keep in mind. They also say PC players with 3D audio enabled will not get any audio output from the game, and as a temporary workaround, players with Microsoft Sonic for headphones, Dolby Atmos, or any other 3D audio setting enabled in their Windows spatial sounds should switch that setting to off when playing the game. Plus, there's also a leaving the final shape campaign pop-up, which is displaying placeholder art, and they say, on top of that, activating Prismatic Hunter's Blink Dagger Super while mid-grapple will cause the player to fall. So if you have any issues with that, hopefully it's one that Bungie will get fixed pretty soon. Otherwise though, they say the Solar Hunter's knock 'em down aspect does not increase the number of blade barrage projectiles. On top of that, the ability description for the Hunter's Arc Staff Super doesn't mention that 3 attack combos or ground slam attacks will apply blind. And then the Deconstruct perk doesn't reflect the recent change made in the update for Final Shape, and it now refills ammo from reserves. And additionally, they say vestiges won't auto-convert into a memory if another memory item is in your inventory, and players must obtain another vestige after the memory is used for vestiges to convert into another memory. So that's a bit of a weird one. Obviously, that's going to be a new kind of content system in the expansion, so just bear it in mind if you do run into issues. And then, some old seasonal currencies and items from Season 20 and 23 won't be automatically removed. And additionally, Kvostov's exotic trait, Eyes Up Guardian, incorrectly states that the ricochet shots deal more damage. But for the final few, players who are tracking triumphs that were vaulted with the launch of Final Shape cannot untrack them. So hopefully players have done that before the downtime, otherwise they will be tracked for the foreseeable future until Bungie get a fix. But Bungie also say, in the campaign for Final Shape, if players do not open the final chest in the Blooming Deep Lost sector before the cutscene plays, the loot will be lost. And when Warlocks pick up a stasis shard with the Glacial Harvest aspect equipped, they will not be granted healing. Then finally, the Berserker's Blade Fury Super does not consistently apply Woven Mail to allies on Supercast when combined with the Into the Fray aspect. So those are a handful of issues that Bungie have already identified in the release build for the final shape, but considering that they have been identified, they're probably going to be some of the first things that actually get fixed in upcoming patches, probably later in the week or early next week. So hopefully that's useful, and I'll link the article below if you want it for reference later on. Up next though, keep in mind that power caps have been updated for the expansion. So the new power floor is 1900, with the soft cap being 1940, the powerful cap at 1990, and then the hard or pinnacle cap will be 2000 power for this expansion. So we're getting a decent climb right there, but for Final Shape we will see account-wide power, and the gear rewards that we earn on any character will drop with a power level relative to the highest power character on our account. So once we've played through with our mains and we start leveling up on our second characters, that process will be sped up and sort of enhanced for multiple characters in the Final Shape. So that is a positive. But onto some scheduling items right here for the week. Of course, the Final Shape raid will drop this week, and that'll be at June 7th 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. So if you're doing any prep for that, keep in mind the launch period. Of course, there will also be the world's first race because contest mode will be active. And then contest is due to end at the daily reset time on Sunday. So it'll be a busy weekend for the raid itself, but something else coming up on Friday will be the return of Xur. At the moment, we don't know too many details about changes for Xur, but game director Joe Blackburn previously had said that Xur will receive a bit of an update. They didn't give specific details, but they did say that with the removal of legendary shards, Xur will be looking for some alternative forms of payment for his wares. It seems pretty likely that strange coins are going to be the new currency once again, so I guess not that new, but throughout the course of the week it will be worth keeping an eye on potential sources for those, so that we can try and get stocked up ahead of Xur's return. Otherwise though, we'll have to see what additional changes Xur may see when the expansion drops. Beyond the weekend though, and the completion of the new raid, of course, episode 1, which is called Echoes, will be the new season alongside the final shape. Bungie have touted a whole series of changes for episode content, but the bulk of that content will begin rolling out next Tuesday, June 11th, so that gives us a bit of an idea of the kind of roadmap that we're going to see at least in this first week of the expansion. Next though, it's worth mentioning that ritual pools have been updated, and Bungie have also increased the amount of rewards that are actually featured in them when it comes to weapons for this upcoming episode. So in Trials of Osiris, Bungie have said the Summoner, as well as the Prophet, the Incisor, and Eye of Sol will still be featured this season, but we'll also see the addition of 2 new unrevealed weapons. Then when it comes to the Iron Banner, once again, we'll get 2 new weapons, as well as Multimax CCX, Tusk of the Boar, Lethal Abundance, Reese Walker, Point of the Stag, and the Gainig Sight. Then finally for the Nightfall, another 2 brand new weapons will be introduced alongside the Wildstyle, Slammer, Undercurrent, Azumi RR4, Warden's Law, and the Priastian Axe Bow. In terms of which will be featured first though, we simply won't know until the expansion actually drops. But it's cool that we'll get some additional things thrown in there. And to store all of this loot, another important update is that Bungie are adding an additional 100 vault spaces with Final Shape, so we'll have a total of 600 now. So on top of any potential vault cleaning you may have already done, hopefully vault space in itself certainly won't be an issue, at least in the first couple of months, although I suppose we'll see how we get on. Next up though, for more reward-related stuff, of course, Eververse will be updated for the new expansion and the season, so there's going to be a load of new stuff, and I'll keep you posted with that with the vendor reset. But we are also going to see new armor for the Dungeons & Dragons collaboration, as well as some additional cosmetic items, a ship, Sparrow, and Ghost Shell. As far as we know, these are going to be silver-only purchases, or at least that's what we typically see with these collaborations, so it'll probably still be the case this time around, but outside of the gameplay rewards we'll earn, those are at least a couple of cosmetic items to mention. For some exotic things to keep in mind though in this first few days, we are going to get Red Death via the Season Pass for Episode 1, so that will be available immediately at the launch of Final Shape or thereabouts. And additionally, Bungie have showed off 2 new exotic armor pieces for each class, and in typical style we should be able to pick at least one of them for completing the Legendary campaign. And otherwise, Master Raoul will have a new focusing option when we max out his vendor rank that will allow us to start and focus for brand new exotic armor pieces, so that will be the primary source outside of the Legendary campaign as far as we understand it right now. But beyond the campaign in the Final Shape, Bungie have revealed that there'll be a new exotic quest called Wildcard, and this quest needs to be completed in order to access the new raid dropping on Friday, so that's the first thing to remember. But it's looking like this will be the post-campaign exotic quest for the expansion, so at some point relatively soon after we complete the campaign, we'll be able to go on the hunt for a new exotic. We don't know what the actual reward will be, but given the theme, maybe it'll be for the Still Hunt Golden Gun Sniper, and I'm guessing Cade will be the quest giver for that one based on the sort of theme and the title for it. So be sure to look out for it, and otherwise, we are going to get a new exotic sword as a Pathfinder reward for the Pale Heart. Obviously, we're not going to get access to that in day 1, as it will require a significant amount of playtime to unlock it, but on top of the exotic quest wildcard, it will be another exotic component that we can begin progressing towards with the launch of the expansion beyond the campaign. And finally, if you're wondering about exotic class items, which Bungie have revealed we'll be getting in the expansion, they'll actually start dropping on week 2 when episode 1 becomes available, and Bungie have said that this will be through a new activity that's part of the episode itself. So if in the first week you are wondering where those are going to come from, just keep in mind that availability and access for them will begin on June 11th. And for all of these quests and things that we'll be tracking, Bungie have said we will be able to set any quest category on the left column of the quest tab as the default when we enter it. So there is that, and also they've updated the quest tab so that tracking quests in individual categories will now bring them to the front of the sort order. So some quality of life improvements for the quest tab there, which make it easier to actually track the stuff we're currently working on. So that's something else we can take advantage of, especially in the early stages where we'll be handling things like the story quest, new exotic things, and anything else that comes up as part of the expansion. So there we go, guys. A quick look at some of the reward system changes, launch details, and a light schedule for some of the content we're going to find in the first week. As always, I hope this video has been useful, and if it has, a rating really does help us out. But once again, also definitely hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell, as there's going to be a lot of stuff for us to keep you posted on. So I'll do my best with all of that going into the launch. Otherwise though, enjoy all of the new content, take care of yourselves if you're grinding like maniacs for the first couple of days. And there's a lot of juicy stuff, so let us know what you are most looking forward to in the comment section. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.